It is so good to have all of you here. Thank you. Such a joy to be with you. And this is the third of our classes, Unity 101, which is everything you've always wanted to know about Unity, but we're afraid to ask. And it's a requisite for those wanting to become members, but for any of us who just want to learn more about Unity principles. So I invite you to just center in. I meant to put a chair up here. I'll just sit here on the platform for a moment. And if you would just take a deep breath. We know right now the presence of Spirit right where we are. Feel the presence of peace, the presence of Spirit. We open our hearts and we open our minds. We open our hearts to experience the divine. We open our minds to Unity teachings and principles that can be of practical use to us. Right now we feel gratitude. Gratitude for this time. Gratitude for the presence. Gratitude for peace. Peace. Be still. And in this now moment, we know all of the presence of God is fully and completely present. And we give thanks. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. That felt good. Yeah. We can connect with the presence at any moment. It's one of the truths that Unity teaches, that we're never distant from that presence, so we can tap into it at any moment. It's always here. So we don't have to beg, beseech. We don't have to suffer. We can experience the presence of God right here and now. Now, we might experience pain. We might experience challenges. But that's different from suffering. Suffering is optional. Experience of life, that just comes with life. But our attitude towards it and the story we tell about it, that's where suffering comes in. So anyway, Unity principles are ultimately practical. And I wondered if any questions had come up for any of you over the last couple of weeks about Unity teachings, Unity beliefs. Are there any questions that anyone has? And if not, questions may come up as we go through the class today. Anybody? Okay, so if questions come up later, that's okay. And if questions come up later on after the class, that's okay, because Unity is an open-ended approach to spirituality. It does not assume that, okay, here's the dogma, here's the creed, you memorize it, you got it, now that's it. It's locked in. It's a more open-ended approach. So we're always learning. We're eternal students. And so we're always open to new avenues of understanding and learning. Cindy has a question. Let me bring you a microphone. We're live.
My question is around the Unity principles, and are they written in verbiage, a form that they are the same words, or are they just the same general global thoughts, and depending upon what church, Unity Church, you go to, the principles are actually different?
Thank you. That's a great question. Thank you, Cindy. The 5 basic principles of Unity teaching are standard throughout the Unity movement, but they're verbalized sometimes in some different ways, depending upon the version that someone got or the culture that they're in. So, for example, the first principle, it can be worded in a number of different ways, but the concept is the same, whatever Unity Church you go to, that there's only one power and one presence. Now, the way I say it is active as my life and as the universe. God the good, omnipotence. Some people will say there's only one power, one presence in my life, and in the universe. And then some of them will say God the good, omnipotent. They'll have these little variations. And there's reasons why I say it the way I do. I don't just think of this as wiener in a bun, like God is in me. But if God is everywhere fully present, then that means all the presence of God is living forth as me as well, as me. So I prefer as me, as the universe. So just some little minor tweaks. The second principle, you remember what the second principle is? This is a test. You that are love streaming, do you remember? Go ahead, say it. Oh, that's right. We're not able to hear you. Okay. The second principle is basically, like this. Since there's only one power and one presence, that means each and every one of us show up as that divine presence. It's just logic, right? If there's only one power and one presence, then what are we? We must be that one power and one presence. So that's the second principle. The third principle is often referred to as the law of mind action. It's verbalized. This one's verbalized in lots of different ways, but it's the same concept. So sometimes you'll go to a Unity Church and they'll say, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. But the third basic principle is that through our thoughts, through our feelings, through those things that we nurture and dwell on, we have the tendency to attract ourselves to that or attract that to our lives. That there's this magnetic principle that what we're dwelling on tends to show up more of in our lives. Okay, the fourth principle is that through prayer, through meditation, we connect in this divine presence. And the fifth principle is that we practice this every day. Now, I've seen, so we live the truth each day. We live these truths. So I've seen probably 8 different versions of these 5 basic principles. There's a very good book on the 5 principles by a Unity minister named Ellen Debenport. Ellen Debenport. Reverend Levitt, do you know if we have a copy of Ellen's book? I do, but okay. So it's a new book on the 5 principles of unity. So it's a new take on it. Ellen is a minister who in her former life was a journalist. And so she's a great writer. And anyway, so it brings a lot of that out. Good question. Any other questions? Yes, John. Let me bring you a mic.
During the pastoral prayer, we sing ancient words. Is that a unity tradition as well?
No, that doesn't come from it was written by, what's his name? Very well-known contemporary Christian artist. Normally I would be able to just come right up with it. Michael. No? No? That's a good guess. Michael. It'll come to me at some point. Michael W. Smith. Thank you. Michael W. Smith. And he wrote that song, Ancient Words. And so it's also used in some evangelical settings or other settings. But there's something about it that transcends, I think, denominations. There's something about it that just draws us, right? I mean, sometimes throughout the week, I'll hear Olga Lucia. She'll be walking down the hallway, and she'll be singing Ancient Words out of nowhere, right? And it's like there's something about it that just speaks to us. So it's not strictly a unity song, but of course in unity we honor, these different paths to God. And so sometimes we borrow from other traditions, right? You go to sleep with it in your head. Yeah. Okay, so it really resonates with you. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, John. Any other questions? Those are good. Well, let me cover a few things here. Do we have the org chart available? Oh, I could go over the 12 powers a little bit. Yeah, that'd be good. Because this is another key teaching in unity. Cindy and CSL, do they talk about 12 powers? No. Okay. This is... Oh, yeah. Okay. So this may be a little hard to see. Okay? Did you get a copy of that last week? No? Okay. That'd be nice to have a copy of it. So like, just as an example, the first month of the year, January, faith, is blue. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, well, again, there's some differences. Yeah. Okay. So Peter, there's a different disciple, different apostle that is aligned with each one of the 12 powers. Charles Fillmore, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, was envisioning, it was coming to him through dreams, through meditation, a means by which we can connect with the divine within us. And he saw it as 12 powers. And of course, the number 12 is used a lot in Scripture. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles. And so he saw these 12 powers being these innate powers within us that help bring forth the Christ. And so the first one is faith. And Peter was the one, Jesus was saying, who do men say that I am? And some say you're John the Baptist, some say you're Elijah, some say you're one of the prophets. And he's like, oh, okay, who do you say I am? And Peter said, you are the Son of God. What Peter represents is that faith that is able to see beyond the circumstances, that ability to perceive, to believe, that ability to go beyond appearance. So there's a little affirmation there, I think. Does this work? There it is. Faith blesses my day and paves my way. So there's 12 powers, and the fact is we're all using these powers. We use the power of faith all the time, the power of our belief. But are we using it in a constructive way? Are we using it in a way where we're adding to the problem, or are we using it in a way that's making a solution? Okay? So here's another one. Andrew. Now, in February, okay, and this is what Diana was referring to, because some of us in Unity have a little different order. February, because of Valentine's Day, I think of love. And so, typically, in February, I'm celebrating love, which the disciple is John and the color is pink. Okay? So there's a little different order depending on where you're at. So you'll see some individual differences with that. There's not like an official, okay, this is the official order. It's more, some of these things have kind of evolved with time. So the power of strength is the power to persevere. And this is a class in and of itself. It's one of my favorite classes to teach. Typically, when I teach this class, it's about a 6-week class. And I take 2 powers each night and really go into depth about how we can transform using these 12 powers and how we're already using them, and then looking at how do we want to use them. So the power of wisdom, the ability to discern, to really apply what we know. So I won't necessarily go through all of these, but these are different powers that each one of us uses. And I hope when we teach a class on this, hopefully I'll teach a class on this at some point, we can go into more depth about this. Now, this is the power we're in this month, is the power of elimination or renunciation. And Thaddeus is the apostle listed with that. So I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Now, what I've been surprised with in my Unity journey is that there are a number of Unity people who are unfamiliar with the 12 powers or who don't relate to them. And I think part of that is because the teaching or maybe they've never received teaching about it. But I believe it's one of the most powerful things that Unity has to offer. But it does require going into some depth. But again, we all practice it. We all practice, for example, the principle of elimination or release. When we moved from Wichita to Hawaii, we had to practice it to some extent because there wasn't room for everything here. We had to eliminate a lot of things. When my friend made his transition this last week, that was a challenge. But I needed to use the power of release. So it can be used in a very powerful and constructive way. Or maybe you've seen people, for example, maybe you've known someone who is so afraid of relationships that every time they begin to get close to someone, they cut them off. I don't know if you've ever known anybody like that. They're so afraid of getting too close, they'll cut off someone if they get too close. Well, they're using the power of elimination, but maybe not in the way that best serves them. So we all use these powers all the time. My first Christmas Eve at Unity of Wichita, I was invited to participate in the candle lighting service. And we'll have a candle lighting service here. And the candle lighting service will focus on the 12 powers. In this particular service, there were 12 of us that were given candles. And it said the name of the apostle, and it had an affirmation. Now, I was kind of beaten up at that point in my life and minister in a different church, Church of the Nazarene. And I was processing through a lot of things. I was working through a lot of stuff in my life. And at times I wondered, because I was really beating up on myself, and I was really wondering, is there a place for me? Is there a place that I can find that would be spiritually welcoming and not judgmental? Is there a place that would be truly accepting of me? So I was new at Unity. I was chosen as one of these 12 people. It was random which candles we got. And I got Judas's candle. And, from the tradition I grew up in, Judas was a bad guy. And here I am with the Judas candle. But it brought tears to my eyes. Thanks, Faith. Love ya. Oh, awesome. We'll talk soon. Okay. So here I was with the Judas candle. And I recognized that Unity celebrated even Judas. And there was something inside of me that said, I'm home. Because this is about seeing the divine in every person. And Judas represents the power of life, which can be used in harmful ways, as we see from the life of Judas, or it can be used in very good and constructive ways. So, anyway, we'll learn more as, oh, great. So we have enough for each person? Okay, so we have the Aramaic Lord's Prayer and the 12 Powers in print in Reverend Tim's order. Yay! And for those of you watching online, I don't know if we can send you something or not, but we can. So we'll have this online for those who are our love streamers. It'll be on our website. Good. Thank you, Diana, for doing that. So you can see the breakdown of the 12 powers. That's very helpful. And that, there were some very foundational things in Charles Fillmore's teachings. The 12 powers was one of those very foundational things. It's throughout all of his writings. So it wasn't just a peripheral thing for him. For him, this was foundational to his understanding of releasing the divine in us. So I'm glad we have that handout. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Judy. Yay. Okay, let me flip back. Okay, so any questions you have about the 12 powers? Yes. Let's see. Kanako.
Thank you. So I have a question about the colors and the locations that each month says, and how it connects with the 12 powers. I mean, does it strengthen more if you wear those colors, and how do you treat the location?
Those are great questions. Thanks, Kanako. Okay. First of all, let me tell you that Charles Fillmore wrote a book on, these 12 powers, the powers of man. Wrote a book on these 12 powers. And his wife, Myrtle, who is considered the mother of Unity, lived a long time. She made her transition. And Charles remarried. And he remarried the person who had been his longtime administrative assistant, Cora Fillmore. And Cora wrote a beautiful book on how to connect to these different centers. These centers, while it will state, and you can see on your sheet, it'll state of different areas of energy centers. These are to be thought of not so much as physical centers as energy centers within the body, like chakras. And Cora did this beautiful book that is now very often, when you buy Charles Fillmore's book on the 12 powers, often Cora's book is in the second half of that book. And it gives exercises on how to connect with these different energy centers to awaken them. There are affirmations to especially connect to those powers. So there are ways to do that. So when let me go back. I'll give some examples. So, like the power of faith, because I realize that if my belief system is messed up, everything else is going to get messed up too, right? So a lot of times I begin by treating my belief system. And to treat my belief system, the power of faith, I will use affirmations and denials. One of the best books I've ever found on how to do affirmations and denials is a book by Emily Cady. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth. It has some great affirmations, denials, and teaches one how to use these. The power of our word, the power of our intention, and treating our own consciousness, treating our own belief system. So, let me give an example. I used to believe that the only place I could minister was in the Midwest. I don't know why I believed that. Maybe because it was so obvious that I was a Midwesterner and, I had grown up with it and it was so familiar. And there was this belief system that said, I don't think you'd ever be able, or could you? There was something inside of me that was pulling me. But it's like, could I? Could I ever minister in the West Coast? Or could I minister even further beyond that? There was this belief system. So, in meditation, and I do meditation every morning and every night, I would work with that. And in my meditation, I would focus on the presence of God, and I would recognize, God's not just in the Midwest, right? God's not just in the Midwest. So, okay, what am I? And by the way, that's another one of my favorite books. Isn't that by Imelda Shanklin? Imelda, What Are You? Imelda Octavia Shanklin, What Are You? Another excellent seminal work. Really goes to the depth of what are you really? And so as I go into what I am, it's like, all there is God, so all I could find was God. So let's see, God isn't just Midwestern, and if all I am is made up of God, then, maybe I could minister outside of the Midwest. And I started doing this treatment on myself, about my belief system, and engaging the other powers too, like strength, the power of strength. I was using the power of strength to persevere in my spiritual practice, to treat my belief system. I was using the power of wisdom to evaluate and discern what is truly mine to do. And, you know, some of these locations make a lot of sense if you think about it, like pit of the stomach. Have you ever had this feeling like something is right or something isn't? A gut feeling. That's what we call it, a gut feeling. So you can see why these powers are, at least a lot of them, some of them you go, but a lot of these powers, it makes sense, you know. So, all right, then in meditation, affirmations, I would really connect and listen to what is mine to do. Okay, love. Love is the power to attract. Love is the power to draw to us that which we discern to be right for us. So, I began developing that power of love. So, when I was here in January, testing out, auditioning, whatever you want to call it, you know, did a workshop and spoke, and 4 days and nights of meetings, and because they wanted to use the best time they could to see, you know, what these people are made of. And when we were leaving on the plane, I knew I wasn't supposed to be leaving. Good, thank you. But I didn't know if people here knew it. But I thought, I'm not supposed to be leaving. But, you know, we got on the plane, and when we were here, it was our first time here, we had those kukui netlei given to us. And I hung them up. We had this staircase, and at the bottom of the staircase, every time I came through the house, I would touch that kukui netlei, and I would say a prayer. And I was using the power of love. I was using the power of attraction. So I'm just telling you different ways we can use this. So, power. The term I prefer for this is mastery or dominion. Yeah, I'll get to you just a second while. So, mastery or dominion. So the power to create in our lives. June is the power of imagination. So I was using the power of imagination. Several times a day, I was envisioning palm trees. I was envisioning the stained glass. I was envisioning this chapel. I was envisioning the individuals of this church. I was using the power of imagination. I mean, all of these 12 powers, I won't go through all of them I was using. And we can use those 12 powers to create in our lives. And we can use them to reveal the Christ that we are, or we can use them to create a mess. It's up to us. We can use them in any way we choose. The tools don't care how you use them. When I was a kid and I had a toy hammer, I would put dents in furniture and woodwork. You know, the tool didn't care how I was using it. And the 12 powers will be used in any way that you allow. So these different colors came later. They seem to sort of make sense, you know, love, pink, you know, but those kind of came later. Anyway, like I said, it's one of my favorite classes to teach, so I could just go off into teaching it. Did that help explain it? Yeah? All right, good. Okay, Wally has a question. You have a question, Wally? All right.
I came in late.
All right, you have a brief comment?
But it was just an observation but you answered it actually as you were sharing these aspects of truth, and I was just wondering if as you were getting a deeper understanding of them, beginning to use them more in your life, it all parallel to. I mean, that it was a guide, it was a map for you, a confirmation for you that this is where you were supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, and as I have been watching you and listening to you and spending a little time with you ever since you've been here, and this. You give more of yourself, and it reveals how you live this. I mean, it's more than a belief system. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's deeply embedded in you. It's who you are, and you speak of it as if you really own it.
Good.
It is you.
Awesome.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Thank you,
You're so
Wally.
congruent with what you say and how you live, and you really are, man. I noticed him when I first met you. I'm biased, but what can I tell you?
Right. Thank you, Wally.
No, I love you.
Appreciate it. Love you, man. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Well, and that's the idea in unity. Sometimes I remember when I was going through the SEE classes. SEE classes are for anybody. SEE classes stand for Spiritual Enrichment and Enlightenment, or education. These are classes, core classes in unity, that help one to understand and better live unity principles, and there's like 25 of them. Now, if a person wants to go on to become a licensed unity teacher, like Reverend Levitt did, or Catherine Burton did, or Johanna Kelly did, there's several, became a licensed unity teacher, one can take them for credit, but the primary purpose of those classes is transformation. So right now, Catherine Burton is teaching a class on the teachings of Jesus, and the primary goal is transformation, but one can take them for credit. So I went through these classes, and then I went into the field licensing program to become a unity minister, because I was ordained in another tradition. And I had the person who is considered to be the toughest mentor of all. And it was great. It was perfect. We're exactly right for each other, because I would always do twice as much work as was required. But I remember my initial talk with her. She was sitting in my car, and we were just getting to know each other because she had chosen me. She, as a mentor, chose me to be the mentee. And in the field licensing program, you always have a mentor. So she was sitting with me in the car, and she said this: "I want to tell you something. You don't know it all. And even though you have a brilliant mind and you know these concepts on a cerebral level, I have some question about whether you know them on a deep internal level. And by the time I'm done with you, it's going to be so natural. It's just going to come out naturally with you. It will be so much a part of your life that you're not even going to be thinking about it." So, thank you, Wally. And that's the thing, we can know something intellectually, but it's a whole other thing to be living it. And unity is really about being practical, as Reverend Levitt has shared with us, practical Christianity. If it's not practical, what's the point? So it's something to be used in our everyday life. Okay? Any other questions? John?
So is that just like repetition of these principles, thinking about them and meditating on them? And I mean, I'm just wondering how much action is involved. I mean, because we are doers.
Right. We're
and
doers.
That could get in the way sometimes.
Right, yeah. It isn't just a sitting and reflecting sort of thing. I didn't go far enough. Let's get to the power of will. Whoops, we're not moving. Oh, there we are. Will. Matthew Silver. So, for example, the power of will is the power to choose. So, those things that we're affirming and creating internally, we make choices and act on it. So we're putting it into action. So all of those things we're putting into action. To continue with the story of applying here, I had to go through the process of applying. I had to go through the process of traveling here and talking with people. I was doing things and I was acting on it. I wasn't just, somewhere envisioning it, which envisioning is important. Kanako, you were looking for a job. You weren't just sitting somewhere meditating on what is the perfect job. You were out actively searching and applying. So it engages our will. It engages our choice, our action. Right. Yeah, it's very much something that we're involved in action.
So what do we rest upon when we think we're out of action? I mean,
yeah.
That's faith.
When we've done everything we know to do and it still hasn't happened? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Well, that's a good one. That's a good question. And I continue to wrestle with that. What I know is that it's real important for me to determine what I really know. What is it that I really know inside? Sometimes it hasn't shown up on the outside yet. In spite of my efforts, in spite of what I'm knowing internally, I'm not seeing the outside shift yet. And that can be a real challenge. That can be a real challenge. And, I've shared with you some about in my chaplaincy work. There's been times where I was with people and I knew they were going to get well. And I prayed with them. I could see golden light traveling through them. And they became well. Even though doctors were saying they needed to be taken off of life support because there was no hope. But there was a case where I knew this person was going to get well, and they're still in a wheelchair. They still have lots of disabilities. And it was hard for me to understand because it's like I knew it. I had the same faith. It was the same kind of prayer. But what was the difference there? But in being in contact with that family, I have found that that person, even though this was a brilliant, brilliant person who now has this major head injury, it's been such a gift in this family's life to have this person with them. And sometimes things are puzzling to me. Sometimes I wonder, well, is the problem in my vision? Is it that I think that what wellness means is that he must get up out of the wheelchair? Or is there a different type of wholeness that is present there that I wasn't seeing? that the family is seeing, that the family is delighted in. And again, I think about Butterworth's statement to see things rightly. So I struggle with that. I mean, all of us, I don't know. I mean, I think all of us at times are challenged by, well, why isn't this working out the way I had envisioned? Even after all I've done and all the prayer work and everything, why? But in that too, I know that there is something divine that is happening. But at times, it's a mystery until I look back on it in retrospect and I can see how God was working through that circumstance. But at the time, it was very difficult to see. Cindy?
I know for myself, I've had that question often, and, we always talk about in Centers for Spiritual Living, treat and move your feet. So pray and take the action. And so when I've done all those things and yet still things are not, manifesting, or I'm not living the life in the way that I thought that I would, I have to sit back and ask myself, sometimes my time and God's time are not the same time. And that there truly is an opportunity in this now moment to really experience and express the blessing of this current time that I'm in. And where is that? And if I can find the gift in it, no matter what it is, whether it's a medical thing, whether it's somebody, close to me is having some difficult times, which on the outward side, look difficult to me, I really have to take a step back and say, there's a gift in every single thing. And it's, once again, it's not always on my time. And so I just always, that's my thing that gets me through. It's like, my time and God's time aren't always the same time, but everything happens in divine right order at the perfect right time.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And Cindy's going to be leading the visioning process. That starts this Tuesday at 6:30, at 6 to 7:30 in 201. So up the stairs over there, if any of you are interested.
And it's free, and you don't have to come to just 1 or 2 or 3. We're going to be visioning on the same questions every month. And so the practice of visioning is opening up to the greatest good of infinite possibilities as our life, as our spiritual organization, as the world. So the same questions, the more we vision, the more the vision continues to live through us, for us, and as us, because we are the vision. The vision is who we are. And so it just gives us an opportunity to open up to that. So yeah, please come.
Good. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, Wally?
Thanks. What I've discovered is that for me, and I think the essence of it is that in order to get to the truth, the real truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God, you have to get out of yourself. You have to put yourself aside. There's a part, I think, in all of us that we know, and I've discovered, just speaking for Wally Amos, is the only thing that I know for absolute certain is I don't know. I don't know anything. But how could you? I mean, if you don't create yourself, then how can you know anything? And everything we get secondhand. We get from someone else who's had more experience than we have. And so I find that for years I have loved the phrase, let go, let God. And that is so basic. It's so true. There's a piece of us that really wants to be in charge, and to think we have all the answers, and we want to impress this person with our knowledge and that person. I mean, it's hidden. It's like deeply rooted somewhere in us that we can't seem to get it out of the way. But we all have, maybe that's the ego. I don't know what it is, but the thing that I work on more and more is just getting out of God's way. And that has been so intense with me the last months, the last year maybe. But when I just move Wally aside and just let it flow, just let it happen, because it's happening whether you accept it, believe it or not. And all we do is get in the way and slow it down.
All right. Thank you, Wally. Thank you. So let it happen. There's a prayer at Unity Village. It's on a plaque. It's by Lowell Fillmore. And in this prayer, Lowell talks about how he took something in prayer and affirmed and believed, and he prayed and he prayed and he prayed, and he didn't see anything shift or happen. And then he let it go, and then it shifted, which is the power of the month, letting it go, you know. So, yeah, that's beautiful. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, the org chart. So we'll look a little bit here at this local community. This sacred place, this sacred ohana. Ohana is a Hawaiian word, means family. And so this is a sacred family. And so this is the org chart. You probably looked at this some last week, didn't you? Yes, okay. So you notice up here, so ideally, this place is here to express God. And the whoops, I pressed the wrong thing. There we are. Sorry. Okay, so the congregation is very important in helping to lead this. And there are lots of volunteer opportunities, lots of ways in which people can serve here. I think of Saturday mornings. There are people who come every Saturday morning to help clean the grounds and cut grass and pick up stuff, you know, every Saturday morning. There are volunteers who work in our garden. There are volunteers who work in our front office on different days. There are volunteers who help in our kitchen area or the courtyard area. There are volunteers who help with the keynote and PowerPoint. There are volunteers who help with the cameras and with the sound. There are volunteers who help in lots of ways. So there are lots of ways to connect here. January 5th and 6th, I'll be leading a workshop on prayer and how we can pray, how we can go deeper in prayer. And it is also a training for any of those who might be interested in becoming prayer chaplains. I'll also be starting a class January, trying to remember the date, mid-January, and in that class, it'll be a prosperity class. And prosperity isn't just about money, it's about really living the divine life, really living the life of joy and fullness. And so there's classes that one can be a part of. There's lots of ways to be involved here. There are different kinds of ministries. Whoops, I did it again. Okay. All right. We have a preschool here, Unity School. It's over here, meets Monday through Friday. 95 wonderful children. at 9 o'clock on Thursday mornings. We have a wonderful Keiki Chapel. Cindy helps with that. I help with that. Lisa and Judy help with that. Can you see I'm starting to fade just a little? I'm just now starting to feel it. I'm just starting to fade a little. So that's all right. It might help if I stand up. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. So we have a wonderful preschool, and Sergio Galisa is the director of that. He does a wonderful job. Alethea, our music director, she's the one that's over here on the keyboard. She's directing all the music. She writes all the charts, the musical charts. We have these wonderful musicians that can come in and they see the charts that she has prepared, and they can play the music spot on at first sight. So it's pretty amazing. And yeah, she's been doing it a long time. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Alethea does an awesome job. You're right. She's been here for years. She's been here for years, and she is a high school drama teacher, music. They just did a long series of Sister Act, and she and Diana are sisters. And so, yeah, we have amazing talent here. And we have the band and Zamar, Ralph and Don and Johanna. They do that on a volunteer basis. So then our steward of finance, our accounting person is Amy. And so she is here on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Our steward of church administration is Lisa, real tall, curly hair, glasses. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. And so she is kind of over the grounds and facilities, and our custodian, John, and the courtyard people who cook, Dillard and Susan. Sean Sweet is our media director. He's back there on the camera. That's Sean. Does a fantastic job. We were in here recording some videos yesterday. I was recording a video for my friend's service. His service is going to be on Tuesday, my friend who made his transition. So I recorded a video for that and recorded a video to be kind of the header for our New Thought channel and the YouTube channel. And Sean helps with that, plus lots of other things. He runs his own business. Todd and Greg help us back on the sound. I've talked about Diana, who does all this amazing job. You know, and Levitt's back here on the soundboard. Levitt and Diana do so much stuff here behind the scenes, and they do it on a volunteer basis. Very, very dedicated. We appreciate you guys so much. And Sean does a lot of volunteer work stuff he doesn't get paid for. You know, we have really committed people here. And Lisa does lots of stuff way beyond really what she's paid for. And Judy, powerful Judy. You know Judy? Okay. Judy is the steward of church operations. She's the one who coordinates our events. She's the one who coordinates a lot of things that happen here. She's the one who tries to help the minister understand where he's supposed to be going and at what time. She multitasks, and she does a lot of things. And Judy and Sean are married to each other. So she oversees the volunteers that work in the office reception area. We have ushers and greeters, and so they fall under Judy. And wow, we have people who lead the ushers and greeters, Elaine and Marcia. We have so many great ushers and greeters. We have lots of weddings here. We have Japanese weddings that occur here. Lately, they've been occurring about 3 or 4 times a week. So they come in here, and we have a contract with them, and they do weddings here. There's a lot of ongoing groups that meet here, AA groups. We have a Course in Miracles. We have Deja Vu, the store over here. We have the Wellness Center that give excellent chiropractic and acupuncture treatments. We have a counseling center. We have a lot of amazing ministries here. Johanna, who sings, tall, slender woman that was our platform assistant and sings in Zamar. She does our website and our newsletter. And Ho'opono, that's Monday nights at 5 o'clock at the little Waikiki Park on just the other side of the school, Waikiki School. We work with the homeless and a spiritual literacy program where they write down scriptures or put it in their own words. And we provide a meal that is being cooked here by volunteers at noon on Monday. We share the daily word with them. Keiki Chapel, 9 o'clock on Thursday mornings. We lead the Keiki Chapel, one of the highlights of the week. So that's with all the teachers and all of the kids. 95 kids. Let's see. Pastoral care. Reverend Levitt does a lot of things. Does a lot of prayer work with people. It leads a lot of the Wednesday night services, the prayer and healing service. If you've never come to that, that's a phenomenal time. Wow, it's real powerful, that healing service, 7 o'clock Wednesday. And time of meditation and healing. There are healing practitioners here. You can pray individually with a person. There are stations set up for different kinds of healing. And our volunteer coordinators are Jade and Francine. So there's lots of different volunteer opportunities. I've talked about Ho'opono. There's a prison ministry, Unity All Believers Interfaith ministry. Once a month we have a special presentation on a Monday night. I think it's the third Monday of the month, isn't it? I was here. Third Monday of the month we come here Monday night and have that presentation. We have an Ohana movie night, which we once a month. Is that the third Friday? Someone help me here. Is it the last Friday of the month that we have a movie night here? And we always announce that. And we hope to revive a choir. Love to have a choir here. And we have a ministry working with our children. I have a vision to see that grow. And I discussed the classes, the SEE classes. So that's our org chart. We have, let's go back. We have a board of trustees. So the board of trustees meets once or twice a month. Lately, it's twice a month to discuss things. And then here's the senior minister who's supposed to be overseeing this stuff. And so there's a lot of things that go on here. Any questions about how we do things here or about our organization? Any questions at all? Okay. Let's go on to our membership covenant. If you are interested in becoming a member here, we have copies of that. You have it? Could we hand those out to people, including me? That would be awesome. Thank you, Cindy. Do we have enough for everybody here? Okay. All right. It's up here on the screen also. Oh, it was, but yeah. Membership covenant. This is if a person is interested in becoming a member here. And if you have come to all 3 classes, you can become a member. If you missed one of the classes, come talk to me. Let's see if we can make one up or something. Those of you who have been watching online, you can become a virtual member of this congregation. We have a number of people who are members that live on the mainland, or they can live in Germany or Australia or Japan. You know, we have people who watch us, and I'm talking about, we have hundreds of people who watch us from India, who watch us from Japan, who watch us from Switzerland. It's amazing. We're like all over the planet. So there are people who become members of this church, but they're living in some other location. So our membership covenant will also be available on our website. How do we do that? You're checking. Okay, so we'll get the membership covenant on there because we want anybody that has attended these classes, if you're interested in becoming a member, and so here are the different things that we agreed to. Are you all okay with reading out loud? Okay? Yeah, it says it. Read it loud. That's right. Okay, so, yeah, that would be great. We could pass the microphone. Could you start, John, by reading those first 2 on the covenant? Is it on? Let's see. Press that button so it's green.
Hello?
Yep.
All right. I understand and am aligned with the basic teachings of unity. I make my spiritual development and relationship with God a priority in my life.
Thank you. Kanako, could you read the next one?
I do my part to support the church's mission of teaching, motivating, empowering, and supporting people in their growth and transformation through the application of spiritual principles.
Thank you. Yeah, you can read the next one too. That'd be great.
I join my fellow members and congregants in participating in the creation of a warm and accepting atmosphere where love is felt and lives are changed.
Thank you. If you don't want to read, that's okay, but we can pass it to Marcia.
I extend myself with loving warmth to newcomers to my church home and to those people attending whom I do not know. I include the church in my daily prayer life.
Thank you. Cindy?
I include the church in my financial affairs, giving joyfully and lovingly. I serve this ministry in ways I am able, thereby strengthening the whole family while learning the value of selfless service to others.
Thank you. And if you could just read the next one, we'll just keep it to one.
Okay. I speak with constructive purpose about the church and my fellow congregants. If I experience personal upset with the church or a congregant, I will seek guidance from Spirit, then speak with and resolve any upset with the person or persons involved in accordance with the principles of agreeing and disagreeing in love.
And you all got copies of that last week, but some of you but some of you might not have been here last week. So we have extra copies of agreeing and disagreeing in love. If you would like to see that. Wally, could you read that next one?
I can do that. As long as I keep my glasses on, do not let me take my glasses off.
Okay.
I recognize that my presence and participation at church services and activities is a contribution and a gift that enhances the experience for all. And you know, I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking that I've been involved with the church for a long time, I've been a member for a long time, but I haven't. And then for a while, I was involved. Every Saturday I would come.
Right.
It felt so good. It feels so good to be here now. But my personal life is kind of just up in the air. But things are leveling off, and I'm beginning to feel so wonderful about being a part of this church.
Wonderful.
You know, and
thank you, Wally.
That also has to do with you.
Thank you.
Tim, because you are our spiritual leader and our friend and all of that stuff.
All right.
But you set the pace. The minister has to set the pace. And and people are beginning to respond. I can feel a shift. I can feel the energy shifting here in this church. So in me, and I want to be more a part of it. I will do more. So call
awesome.
me.
Thank you, Wally. All right. Thank you. Okay, I think we have one last statement.
Together with my fellow members and congregants, I am co-creating with God the ongoing dynamic life of Unity Church of Hawaii. I recognize that together we help to keep its doors open and expand its programs and services, thereby blessing and serving thousands of others like myself. Through membership in Unity, I honor the God in me and God at work through Unity Church of Hawaii.
Thank you. So, if you have attended the classes and are interested in being a member here, then I would invite you. Oh, wow, it's even got today's date on it. I would invite you to fill out this membership covenant. But I want you to understand that whether you officially become a member or not, you're part of our family, and we're glad that you're here. Membership here is a sign, a step that you align with these principles, you align with the mission of this church, and that you want to be a part of it. And so becoming a member, you're taking that step of saying yes. Like, I think again of my friend Alan, when I came to Unity of Wichita, and he said, Tim, this is who I am. This works for me. It was just part of who he was. And so if this aligns with you, I would invite you to become a member and to be a part of this loving Ohana, to be a part in whatever way that you can contribute and be a part, including those who are love streaming. You are a part of us. And if you wish to be a member of this church, I invite you into this sacred covenant with us. You are so welcome here. You are so loved here. And I am so grateful for your presence here. Yeah. There we are. So I invite you to be a member along with us. And all of you who are interested in being a member, please feel free to fill this out and turn this in. I think John has a question.
Statement.
A statement.
Well, if you're talking to me like that, how can I resist?
Right. Exactly. Kanako.
A statement. Before we left New York and when I submitted our apartment keychain, apartment keys, I told myself I'm going to get a new keychain. And this is what it says. It says yes, and then
say yes
to
life. Take epic chances. I love it. Thank you, Kanako. Thank you. It's a joy to have you all here. Moved here from New York? Wow. That's awesome. Big step. Yeah? Any questions about the membership covenant? We just invite you all, including those who are love streaming, to be a part of this sacred Ohana, to give in what ways you can. I know those who are online, you can donate as well, and we appreciate that. And those who are here to contribute in terms of time, talent, and treasure in ways that you are led to support this sacred Ohana. It is such a joy to have you all here. Any questions or comments at all? Yeah? Oh, Diana, sorry. I don't think it's on. Agreeing and disagreeing. Okay, you went over it last week and you read through it. It is referenced in this that, you know, if there's some conflict or something, you agree to follow the principles of agreeing and disagreeing in love. And you handed out copies of that as well. Does anyone need a copy of that? Okay. I think at Olga Lucia needs one too. So we need 2 copies. Those are over here somewhere. Okay. Okay, do we just have one? I thought we had more. Here we are. Here's a bunch. So, yeah. I think, there's a couple of them. Here's 2. So, yeah, perfect. All right, so we have materials for you. Yeah, thank you. All right. Any comments, questions, thoughts? I remember when I became a member of Unity of Wichita and how meaningful it was to me. Now, when I first started at Unity, I wanted to be kind of in the background. I wanted to be incognito. But that didn't last too long because I was so drawn to that sacred family and to that place. I just needed to get involved. And so by becoming a member, you're saying that you're supporting this ministry, that you're a part of it, and we're a part of you. This is a two-way thing. It's not, it's a bond together. It's a covenant. And so we're here for you as well. And next week is when we're receiving the new members in. Cindy, you're going to be in Alaska. Will you be watching online? I'd like to do it in the 11 o'clock service, if that works for people. I'd like to do it in the 11 o'clock service. Okay. All right. Okay. So you'll be a part of it. But we'll be starting at 12. I'll be doing the membership part. I haven't figured out where in the service, but it won't be at the beginning of the service. Yeah. So, anyway. Awesome. Yay. Okay. Yay. All right. Well, I'd like for us to close this time in prayer, and I'm just so grateful for the people who are working on yards and stuff that waited for our service to be over. And I went over to thank them. That was so... Oh, yeah, let's see that picture. Where was that picture? Oh, there we go. That's a nice picture. And then, I love this picture. Yeah. Yeah, see the Easter bunny in the top left-hand corner? Even the Easter bunny came to church. Yeah, that's Johanna's daughter, Leilani. I invite you to just take a deep breath. And in this moment, we are so grateful for this time together. We're grateful for this sacred space, for this sacred ohana. We're grateful for all the lessons we learn here, all the support we get here, and we're grateful for each and every one who is here. We bless this ministry. We bless those who are love streaming, knowing that we are all one, knowing that we are all connected. We are one. And we are grateful, and we give thanks, and we say together, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thanks for staying. Thanks for staying. Is there homework? Well, did you all call Silent Unity? Did you do that? Good. No? Okay. So, you did that piece of the homework. There's no specific homework for today other than, just to let me know if you have any questions. And if you're interested in membership, to submit that membership covenant. Sounds like we're ending right on time, yeah? Man, so it is so good. You're all such a blessing. It's a joy to have you here. Let's all give us a hand.
Hello. Oh, there I am. So a couple years ago when I was teaching the keiki, the older keiki, I bought a bunch of stuff to help us remember the unity principles, and that's why I asked if they're written in a certain way in a certain time. So I still have leftovers. I bought all these for our keiki, the older kids, and I still have these little bookmarks, and I have enough for everybody. And so I'd like to present everybody today with the unity principles in a really colorful bookmark. And I just so appreciate all of you guys. I really just feel like, we've become this little family. I'm like, are we not meeting next week? So I'll miss you when I'm in Alaska, but I'll be live streaming. So love streaming. Okay.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. So she'll be handing those out. Okay, thank you. Yes, she will be here with us. That's right. All right. Thank you all. Thank you for staying. And if you are turning in those membership covenants, you can just turn those in to me. And thank you for coming. Thank you. God bless you.